Are teachers mentors? The answer is yes and no. Teachers impart knowledge that helps us understand things, and we can connect events, objects, and situations together. But there are few teachers whom we remember throughout our life. How and why? These few give us the context and perspective of how we do what we do. They provide, shall I say, meaning to our existence and become the lighthouse and beacon for the entirety of our life. When stuck in life at some point in time, we ask this question, what my mentor would have done in such a situation, and the answer is available instantly. In addition, a true mentor has the uncanny ability to spot the spark in his mentee and takes effort to kindle that spark, which can become a flame in due course of time. In many ways, I find the approach of a true mentor similar to what the great sculptor Leonardo da Vinci had. It is said that whenever da Vinci spotted a hillock of marble rocks, he would not see the hill per se, but the mentor in him would spot instantly a beautiful statue hidden in the rocks, and he would imagine his role as removing the unwanted portions of the rocks to bring alive the statue. True mentors are experts in removing the clutter in our thoughts, feelings, and actions. So, in that sense, it is essentially an uncluttering process. Mentor is an editor with a tough love disposition. He is a czar of editing who, by scratching the unnecessary, unwanted, and verbose portions of our personality, brings out a crisp, sharp, and clearer edition of us. Based on my understanding of mentorship over the last 40 years, I have brought out few salient aspects of this role, which are embedded in the word mentor, mentor. The first letter M in the word mentor stands for motivator. It is important in our formative life to have someone motivating us, giving encouragement, providing positive feedback, and setting gradually challenging and tough goals is important for us to stretch ourselves. To bring out the best in the mentee, it is important to challenge our views, aspirations, and goals. That is the job of a good mentor. The second letter in the word mentor is E, which stands for enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, like cold, is highly infectious. It implies exhibiting and communicating active interest in what the mentee is doing. Communication is a funny word. The irony of communication is when we think we are communicating least, actually, we are communicating most. When a mentee is reporting something which he considers exciting, and if the mentor is quiet, are not giving any eye contact, is not responsive, he's actually communicating a lot through his nonverbal mannerisms. The third letter in mentor is N, which stands for nurturing. A true mentor considers his role as of a gardener. What does a gardener do? The gardener selects the right seed, ensures that the soil is healthy and the sunlight is adequate, not too much, not too little. Right amount of water and nutrients is provided, and the flower blooms. The mentor is always in the background, offering support when needed. He does not micromanage the mentee. Advice is offered only when sought. It is a kind of, shall I say, non directive and mentee centered therapy. And this is one major difference between the teacher and the mentor. The mentor ensures conditions under which the mentee himself or herself finds out the mistakes and corrects. The fourth letter in mentor is T, which stands for two things: technical expertise and time investment. Not everybody qualifies to be the mentor. One needs good academic credentials and a track record of success that can be verified. For example, if he or she is a professor, then I would look forward to a few research publications in reputed journals which are peer reviewed. If he or she is into business, I would look at the balance sheet to see a healthy bottom line. If he or she is a sports person, then I would look at the track record in national or international events. Secondly, mentoring is not a part time job. Once you are a mentor, you need to allot quality time for the sessions. No disturbances, no telephone calls, complete and undivided focus on the job at hand. Remember, you have to bring out the beautiful statue out of the marble rock. The fifth letter in mentor is O, which stands for observation. Mentoring involves minute, incisive observation of the mentee. What is he thinking? What are the underlying assumptions? What needs correction? What needs evidential support? The answers to these questions lie in observing intensely. In fact, a good mentor not only observes the obvious, but goes beyond and critically behind the obvious. This process helps the mentee immensely in clarifying his or her thought process. The last letter in the word mentor is R. And what does R represent? R represents the respect for diversity. A good mentor becomes great with humility and a genuine respect for all mentees. Mentees come in all shapes and sizes with varying degrees of socio-cultural ethos and background. This diversity must be respected and appreciated. Many experiments on school children have demonstrated that teachers operate with biases that even they are not aware of. And these biases get reflected in the way they treat their pupils. The self fulfilling prophecy must operate on positive feelings. If the mentor believes that he is lucky enough to have been selected to shape the future of his mentee, he will behave in a way that reinforces the positive vibes that than the mentor who believes that it is a routine assignment. Finally, a question that needs answers: how do we select such an ideal mentor? There are some good and reliable psychometric instruments that can help us in ideal selection of the mentor. I have developed one such psychometric instrument, and let me give some clues to that. The ideal mentor needs to have a balanced approach towards forming interpersonal relationships. He should be liking interacting with mentee but should not go overboard. Detached attachment, or shall I say attached detachment, is the right approach. Not getting too involved, yet be involved is the name of the game. He must be able to influence the mentee but need not be an autocrat or unnecessarily assertive. He should be reasonably able to nudge and have the willingness to listen to mentee's thoughts and feelings. And lastly, he must have good empathy and have the ability to put himself in the mentee's shoes. Finally, remember that mentoring is not a one time affair, it is a long process of molding. It is a process of inculcating of creative mind and personality. Important and life sustaining mentoring is not like planting mushrooms that run to seed and grow in no time. Such mentoring gradually seeps into the soil of the mind and triggers the process of building the character that becomes the foundation for our lives. Thank you very much.